The crisis rocking Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, has taken yet another dramatic twist. With just days to its planned national convention on November 15 and 16, the PDP is locked in a legal storm that has thrown its preparations into confusion. A fresh order from the Federal High Court in Abuja has stopped the convention following a suit filed by former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, who claimed he was unlawfully excluded from contesting the chairmanship position. Now, Justice Peter Lifu, who issued the ruling, reinforced an earlier judgment by another Abuja court that had barred the exercise. But in a conflicting decision, the Oyo State High Court cleared the PDP to proceed, directing the Electoral Commission to monitor the event. The clash of rulings has not only exposed deep divisions within the judiciary, but also amplified internal power struggles within the PDP. Now, despite the legal setbacks, the party insists there is no going back on the convention, saying it is guided by a Supreme Court judgment and judgment that protects political parties' internal affairs. So what does this mean for the future of the opposition and indeed for Nigeria's democracy? Joining us this morning to help unpack the twists and turns are Elder Timothy Osadolor, a member of the PDP and National Executive Committee, and Mutiu Akinsanya, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, you're welcome this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your program.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining
I
us.
will start with, okay, so let's think we have, two sides to it. I'll start with Osadolor on this. So the PDP has insisted that there's no going back on the November 15 and 16 convention, and despite the Federal High Court ruling stopping it. Why is the party so determined to go ahead?
When you say the PDP has decided or is determined to go ahead with the convention, I'm constrained to ask, which PDP are you talking to? Because I am aware that the exercise bid for 15th and 16th in Ibadan is an early Christmas party and not a PDP convention. I believe it's an early Christmas party that is being hosted by Governor Seyi Makinde for his friends that are members of PDP.
But what would you call it, an early Christmas?
I call it an early Christmas party in the sense that the PDP acting national chairman, Honorable Abdurrahman Mohammed, has made it abundantly clear that there's no convention built for that date. The two competent courts of the land has ruled that every attempt at holding such a gathering should be put on hold. So I wonder why you are still emphasizing on behalf of the PDP that the convention will hold. Yes, some members of the PDP wanted the convention to hold, and we are wishing the convention to hold. But again, you ask yourself, if a competent court has ruled, in the Federal High Court, as it was first ruled at the first instance, the governor of Oyo went ahead to window shop for a judgment through the State High Court. Allegedly, I'm told that the judge that gave that judgment has less than 7 months to his retirement, and that he took an early pension. I'm not saying it's a fact, but that's what I've heard. That can be double checked if he's truly going to retire in 6 months or 7 months. So for me, I think it is troubling when the last hope of the common man, which is the judiciary, starts kowtowing to the whims and caprices of anybody that throws a biscuit, granite, and a kuli in his direction and wants a judgment. I think that it does not augur well for our democracy. It does not augur well for the kind of nation that we want to project amongst the international community of the world. It's not even about the PDP now. It's about the current consistent inconsistencies in our judicial system. It is worrisome.
So are you trying to say now, based on the statement made by the PDPs on the national dailies this morning, that there is no convention that is going to happen?
Which of the
we
PDP
only have
are
one
you talking?
PDP.
Then if you have one PDP, the acting national chairman and the national secretary have made it abundantly clear through all the news media that there's no convention holding in Ibadan.
All right.
All right.
Now, let's look at it from a legal standpoint, Mr. Akinsanya. With two conflicting orders, court orders, one would say one from Abuja halting this convention and another from Oyo allowing it. Which one takes precedence, and what are the implications of having two separate, court orders?
So thank you very much. I think even before these orders that you're referring to, there have been previous judgments. One particular very important judgment is that of the Supreme Court affirming Anyanwu as the secretary of the party. And I saw the way the PDP was also reluctant in implementing that particular judgment. But the recent twist to that judgment that still shocked me as a lawyer is to see Anyanwu leading the group to now say they have suspended the chairman. The secretary that was acknowledged by the Supreme Court now saying that the chairman of the party or the acting chairman of the party is suspended. That for me is also shocking. And I see how that could be put to test before our courts. Our courts will have to also make pronouncement on that. And I think those who are affected may also need to submit that to court. In respect of the recent decisions, whether they are conflicting or not, I'm not aware that any of those parties have appealed. Party A and B, those loyal to Nyesom Wike and those loyal to the Governor Makinde, I've not seen either of them appealing those rulings. And you see, it creates a further division amongst the party. If this convention holds on Saturday, I believe, and you have a judgment going against maybe the Makinde faction on appeal, it will of course nullify all that they have done. And if they're lucky that they get judgments in their favor at both the High Court in Oyo State and the Federal High Court, what it will mean is that the Wike faction will be at the losing end. But I honestly think that the saving grace for PDP at this point in time is the judiciary. And I must tell you that I am really very disappointed seeing these conflicting judgments or conflicting rulings or orders from these courts. And I think those in the People's Democratic Party, what they should do at this time is to send petition to whoever they think is giving an order that is not deserving. From what my brother said about the judge in Oyo State, I don't want to reiterate it. I think those of them who are dissatisfied should not just stop at condemning the judge, but they should also perhaps put up a petition, because there must be a stop to all of these things where you have conflicting orders and then you do not know which one to obey, which one not to obey. And I think that is what has brought the PDP to where it is today. And for all of us in Nigeria, we're all suffering from having no formidable opposition to the ruling party, because everything the ruling party does, they simply get away with it. And there's nobody there that is helping to put them in check. Every democracy should have a formidable opposition that would always put the ruling party in check. That we're losing as Nigerians and as people who elected all of these people into those offices.
All right, Barrister, just to follow up with what you've said, with all of this, at this point, with all of this conflicting court order and what have you, do you think that the judiciary is being used as a tool in an internal political battle?
So you see, as a lawyer, I can't sit here to say whether or not they are being used. You see, we have a mechanism to report these judges and to the NJC. And the NJC, but you see, the NJC cannot act on its own. Certain persons will have to send petitions against judges that they feel are doing the wrong thing before those judges can be sanctioned. And I think in Nigeria over the years, we are too complacent when it comes to really taking those steps. And that's why you see certain judges always getting away with some of these things. So we can't just sit to complain. Petitions should be sent, and then the NJC will look at it and really look at the facts that I may not be abreast with, to really know whether those orders were bought or whether they were given on merits. Yes.
All right. All right, Mr. Osadolor, at this point, what does this court judgment, mean for the PDP? Has it once again thrown the PDP into the spotlight for internal division? And from your perspective, what does this really mean for the future and unity of the party? We've seen the way the division and different factions are going at this point. What does it mean for the future of, unity for the PDP?
Well, first, let's get something very clear. I'd like to also chip in for the records that there's a formal petition signed and delivered to the NJC as at yesterday against the judge in Oyo State for the ruling he gave. That petition was signed and delivered yesterday to the best of my knowledge. And that is our own way of saying we want to contribute to the sanctity of the judicial system in the country. Now, what does this conflicting judgment mean for the PDP? Primarily for the PDP, it means that we should do our best to avoid issues that can polarize the party and take our internal affairs to the general public. But on the broader scale, this judgment shows the malfeasance and the decay going on in almost all stratas of our public life. It's all strata of institutions that governs our public life. You see, time was when we used to have erudite judges that were sent to faraway Gabon, Liberia and all of that to be their chief judges and all of that, because they believed that the Nigerian judicial system had men of incorrigible characters and personnel to the core. But today, you can't even, I don't know, with all due respect to the men as they have integrity on the bench and on the bar. And so I would not want to throw broad aspersions. But when you keep seeing things like this, it becomes worrisome. And you now begin to ask, where do we go as a people? Now, for the PDP, this has also further highlighted like my brother just said, when the Supreme Court made a pronouncement affirming the secretaryship of Samuel Ayan as the legitimate secretary of the party, it took quite a while for the governors and the strong men, so to speak, within the party to come down from their high horses and obey simple judicial pronouncements that were as clear as daylight. For me, if we say we are People's Democratic Party and we cannot even obey the internal rules and ground norms that we have written for ourselves and so on to, by way at the convention and when we're taking offices as officer of the party, how do we now tell Nigerians that if giving public office or giving public power, we will obey the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria when our own internal laws are difficult for us to obey? So first, I don't believe that this kind of arrogance should continue within the leadership of the PDP. And that's why some of us, you call this group any name you want to call it, but some of us, out of conviction, believe that there must be a stop to this arrogance and this high-handedness has been portrayed or displayed by some few individuals. Some say it's because of their presidential ambition, some say it's because they want to use their control power to do negotiations. But for whatever reasons, we must first learn to be keepers of our own constitution and laws.
Right.
So before we not go to the general public to say entrust us with public power.
No. I quickly want to piggyback on what you said about the judicial system. Now, directed to you, Mr. Akinsanya, when it comes to the judicial system, you are part of it. But when it comes to political parties or politics, you're an outsider looking in. So at this point, do you think that the judiciary's frequent involvement in party matters reflects weakness in political party administration or the strength of judicial oversight in Nigeria's democracy?
Okay, so the law I know is that even the courts are not allowed to dabble into internal affairs of political parties. But there are exceptions to those laws where a political party has made laws for itself or regulations for itself, and those regulations are violated. Any party who feels aggrieved can approach the court, citing those regulations or those rules that the party has made for itself that are violated. So it is not an absolute rule to say the courts cannot intervene. There are exceptions. But one way to see whether those exceptions can be proven in all of the cases that are before the courts. And of course, if any of the aggrieved party cannot really show that those exceptions are in these cases before the courts, it may be difficult to succeed in those matters. So I honestly know that, yes, parties, so all of the orders you have are simply interlocutory orders. They are not orders on the substantive matters before the courts. So both the court in Oyo, the matter before Honorable Justice Peter Lifu, and that before Honorable Justice James Omotosho, the substance in those suits are yet to be decided. And so what you have is simply saying parties should maintain status quo. Parties should not do anything that will jeopardize the substance of what is before the courts. And so it's the outcome that will now determine whether these issues are really internal affairs of political parties or they are not, and whether the courts can really make pronouncements on them.
So for Barrister, for our viewers to understand the twist and turn within the PDP and why these issues are being taken to court, yes. From your own legal standpoint, what does the PDP constitution actually say about conventions and leadership transactions? And has the party violated its own rules in any way?
So honestly, I can't answer that. I cannot answer that because I know it's a matter that is sub judice. I know that all of the parties that are before the court, these are issues that they have put before the court. I also know that issues as to even the delegates that will be attending this convention are also issues that are before the courts on whether all of the ward, what do they call it? The ward elections, the elections that were done at the lower levels, whether they were all properly done or not. All of these are issues that have compounded all of the problems. They're issues before the courts. I'm not very familiar with the constitution of the PDP.
Sorry, okay, so let's hear from Osadolor. So you are in the PDP. You're a chieftain in the PDP. You are in it. So can you tell us what the constitution of the PDP states concerning the convention and also the transition when it comes to leadership?
You see this, my learned friend here. He started by saying this matter is sub judice. I now true to me, who is not a learned fellow. So I will now go before a judge now to be talking about issues that you ran away from. But for me, I think some clarity needs to be given to members of the public. Yes, for these issues, there are congresses yet to be conducted in Anambra, in Ebonyi. The entire ESCO of the Southeast has been vacated by a declarative judgment from Abakaliki and another judgment in Waya. Now, that one was to nullify the zonal congresses in the Southeast. Another one was to withdraw, or how do I say it, notified the membership of the then Southeast Zonal Chairman, my good friend Ali Odefa, and said he was not a member of the party, upholding his suspension from the ward. Whereas the man is still being paraded by his enablers from Oyo. You see, those are some of the issues that we are contesting. Delegates and status of some of these delegates. And the electoral guidelines of the party is very clear. We must have congresses in 36 states, including the FCT, and the 6 zones of the Federal Republic, who will elect delegates to go to the National Convention and elect the officers of the party. If you are going to sideline an entire zone of the Federal Republic, you're already running foul of the electoral guidelines of the party. So there are issues that are germane that we want the courts to interpret. Like he said, yes, these rulings here and there for now are ex parte and interlocutory, whatever they will call them. The main substance are yet to be attended to. I think on Thursday, one of the judges will have to make a pronouncement on the issues before him. So let's just wait. But for now, whatever exercise or party that they are going to drop in Ibadan, I want to advise those who have other important things to do to face their business and wait when PDP is ready. When PDP is ready in the sense that you cannot be talking about going ahead a convention in a badly fractured and disorganized atmosphere. The leadership needs to come down from their various houses and grandstandings and reconcile. These are issues you can judge over. They are not celestial issues or heavenly issues that you cannot relate with. They are issues of ego that can be massaged in a give and take manner. So if they are serious about it, I think there's still window to address some of these fundamental issues for the PDP to perhaps heal and throw itself back into contention for the 2027 election. Otherwise, I foresee a situation whereby through the mechanism and high-handedness of some of our leaders, particularly the governors, we will just enter a stalemate, which we will not be so happy about.
All right. Now, Mr. Akinsanya, now looking at what is going on so far on the political scene in relation to the judicial system, what are the broader implications of this crisis for Nigeria's democracy and the 2027 general elections? Do you think that in the long run there will be so many cases going on and going to courts, as well as conflicts, aside from internal conflicts, but conflicts between different parties as well?
So before our courts, there have always been conflicts, either internal, either conflict within political parties or conflict between political parties. So they've always been there. And you see, my worry as a lawyer is a situation where the judiciary gives so much attention and so much prominence to these political matters over other matters that affect common Nigerians. For me, it's a worry. Because if you see the way that these political matters are being heard fast-track, you find out that matters of ordinary Nigerians on the streets are not being heard with this speed. And so you then ask yourself that what is really the motivation for our judicial system? Is it the plight of the common man or the pockets of the politicians? If you go to our various correctional centers, or you see matters that are civil matters that are filed by citizens before our courts, you see the way they drag in court. Political matters are heard with swift and with speed. For me, it's a worry. And so these matters are always there, but they're always heard with speed. 2027 is close by. What I foresee with all of this happening in the PDP, is a situation where Nigerians will be at the receiving end. Because we have now seen governors now decamping to the ruling party. It's a huge loss to the PDP. And in days to come, we may still see more. And what that portends is that we may not have a formidable opposition from now until 2027. It may be an easy ride for the ruling party. And what does that mean for Nigerians? That Nigerians will not have an alternative. We will not have somebody who comes to campaign and tells us what will benefit us as Nigerians. The ruling party will simply feel that, oh, we do not have any opposition, so even if we do not make promises to Nigerians, we will still have our way all through. And from what we have seen across democracies in the world, just last week, we all saw what happened in New York City of somebody who nobody ever thought could win winning an election. But what was the difference? He spoke the minds of the common people, addressing key issues that affect ordinary citizens. And they all came out en masse, supported him and voted for him. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, PDP is yet to really get its house in order. PDP is even yet to even come before us to say they are offering us a credible opposition. So it's a pity that they are all politicians. They will all have something to eat. They will all have monies to pay for their school fees. And I'm sure they are not even paying house rent. All of these people.
Yes. I'd actually like to hear from Mr. Osadolor. Absolutely. At this point, with the immense internal crisis that PDP is facing at this point, do you believe that the current leadership crisis threatens PDP's chances in 2027 elections, especially with rising competition from other parties, with the campaign from the PDP, as well as all the lack of resolution that is going on in the PDP?
Well, for me, I would not want to close the door completely on the PDP if and only if the leadership, like I said earlier, come down from the heavens and come back and wake up to reality that Nigeria and Nigerians are looking up to them to provide leadership and direction for them. You see, the PDP over the years has shown time and time again that it has this comeback spirit and this stay power, and it resonates with every member of the PDP. It's just as this seemingly difficult moment for the PDP is being stretched to a dangerous point whereby we may break if we do not apply brakes timeously. There's still window to apply brakes, and there's still window to jojo. There's nothing sacrosanct or extra about 15th and 16th. We can always push 15th and 16th to 27th and 28th, or 1st and 2nd, or 3rd and 4th, so long as we can get our internal issues correctly. So for me, like my brother said, it's not only the PDP that has that right or that responsibility to take over governance from or to put this current government on its toes. The Nigerian voting public, we are too laid back. The Nigerian voters are too complacent. We are accustomed to things that are abnormal. Abnormality is a new normal for Nigerian voters. The apathy is mind-boggling, and the lack of interest in policies and actions of government. You wonder if we are from a different planet in this country. Because if you look at the things that we put up to and continually put up to in this country, you'll be scared. From 800 or something naira to a pound, we went to as 2,200 and back to 2,000, and we are celebrating. From 150 naira to $1 to 1,000 to 2,000, 1,819 and 1,4. They say we are making progress. Now we say subsidy is gone in this country. Never in the history of this country since Lord Lugard have we borrowed in our life. We are borrowing left, right, and center as if the world was to end. Yet they keep giving us fantastic numbers. Oh, revenue increase. Oh yeah, output. What are we borrowing? Oh yeah, output all-time high. Oh yeah, savings all-time low. So there's something fundamentally wrong with our psyche and our DNA as Nigerians. It's not only PDP that should be making these points known. Every Nigerian should be vested enough to demand accountability.
All right. And now there's a report that the party might set up an interim management committee if the crisis persists.
Yes.
So is that a real option or just a contingency plan?
For me, anything that will make PDP not break is a welcome development. So if setting up an interim committee is one of those footsteps going forward towards reconciliation and salvaging what is remained of the PDP, so be it. But I don't think that is a final solution to the problems on ground. They are deep and they are far-reaching reforms and reconciliations that must be done.
So as someone that is inside the party, I mean, you can see it, you know what is going on. What do you think are the things that you people need to put in place to make sure that all of these crises are being sorted out in preparation for the 2027 elections?
The first thing is we must do it with ego. Ego.
So it means everybody in the party has
including
ego.
me that is talking to you now, we must all do it with ego.
Okay.
We must do it with ego. We must do away with unnecessary grandstandings that still flows from ego. Then, and more importantly, we must have a reconciliatory spirit. Because for all I've seen, so there's nobody who will come and play sense. We have all offended the constitution of this party. We have all offended the votes and trust reposed in all of us as leaders and managers of this party. So we must be bold and frank enough to tell ourselves we have erred, we are sorry. Then going forward, let's not deviate from the path of the founding fathers, which obviously are clearly we have not only abused, we are mismanaged, but we are currently dancing on.
All right. Mr. Akinsanya, let's talk about public trust at this point. We know that the public, the people, do not trust, first off, at this point, the judicial system as well as political parties. So how does this ongoing legal drama affect public trust in both the judiciary and political parties? Because you made mention that these political issues taken to court are put foremost before other issues in court.
Yeah, so you see our judiciary also needs so much reform. And for some of us as lawyers, we continue to canvass that those reforms must take place as quickly as possible. And I also want to also advise political parties. This is a free legal advice. Political parties should also try as much as they can not to take their matters to court. Because even in the modern world, in commercial transactions, people who are into serious business activities, they don't want to go to courts, particularly Nigerian courts, because the matter will drag and drag. If these matters are decided at the courts of first instance, they go to the Court of Appeal and then to the Supreme Court. And I'm sure they may find it difficult to even get these matters resolved before the main activities for the 2027 election will commence. And that will be a loss to all of them in PDP. So alternative dispute resolution are very important aspect of our lives. The PDP can really get that done within themselves. I know a few months ago they had some kind of reconciliation going on, but I know that the Honorable Minister of the FCT was the one who pulled out, saying he does not trust the process. So perhaps because these alternative dispute resolutions are handled by they themselves within the PDP. I'm not advertising for lawyers, but I know there are a lot of lawyers who are professionals in alternative dispute resolution who can help the PDP to really get their acts together so that they give the APC a run come 2027 and so that they give Nigerians the alternative that Nigerians need come 2027. So alternative dispute resolution, I believe, will take them away from all of these troubles of courts. All of these troubles of feeling that, oh, a judge has been giving so much money or giving so much promises. They should come back, get alternative dispute resolution specialists to help them deal with those matters.
All right. Mr. Osadolor, I'd like to hear from you as someone that is in the party. What lessons should PDP and indeed all political parties draw from this case after, you know, a lot of, you know, internal disputes and crisis and adherence to their constitutions?
Well, above every other thing, I think the PDP should know by now that any form of victory against your brother or your member or your colleague is at best Pyrrhic, because in the long run, even if you win in courts and there's no reconciliation, don't you need the support of that person, the other party you have won? Don't you need the goodwill of that person you have won in court? See, this game of politics is about numbers. Not just numbers for the sake of numbers to drive your mantra and your policies and your identity. So, like my brother said, ADR is a welcome step, but if really want to go by our books, the ADRO system is well spelled out within our books. That is why with our constitution we say, unless the matter is exhausted internally and without not to the satisfaction of any of the parties, that is when you cannot go to courts. Court is not the first instance of dispute resolution within the PDP. No. There are committees at every layers. There are organs at every layers saddle the responsibility of trying to mitigate crisis or would-be issues that will become crisis. But the problem is lack of adherence to the internal processes and laid down rules and regulations. And that is why I've said, if we cannot convince ourselves to manage or abide by the rules that we by ourselves set to ourselves, how do we convince the voting public to entrust us with the supreme constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to enforce and to uphold and to defend or to whatever with it? So the point is this: the PDP should learn, and I believe we have learned now, that the resources we spend to fight and prove points to ourselves are necessary and can be better managed in this challenging opposition climb to send our messages to the 774 local governments of Nigeria that we are ready to provide leadership and good governance, rather than paying SANS. And my brother that is no advice for lawyers said, paying lawyers for ATR, even when it's advertising them. Why did you say churches or imams? We should consult them.
All right. All right then. Thank you, Elder Timothy Osadolor, a member of the PDP National Executive Committee, and Barrister Mutiu Akinsanya, legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Thank you both
for being here,
coming this morning.
Thank you.